Hello and welcome. So, update 1.25 for Gran Turismo 7 brought us 4 new vehicles, and with this update, we are supposed to receive a brand new track, which we didn't. So, we are going to look at all of the new cars in the updates and see if they bring enough enjoyment to cover up the lack of a new circuit. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my experiences and my opinions on the vehicle. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, so guys, please keep that in mind. With all that being said, one thing I can appreciate was the car's pricing. We saw two of them being under 100,000 and the other two being over 500,000. And funny enough, both of those are GTRs. But we'll come back to GTRs later. We're actually gonna look at the Maserati Merak SS. I'm gonna be completely honest when I say, before the update was released and we knew what cars were coming out, I looked at the Maserati and I thought to myself, well, there's another filler vehicle. What is the point of adding this vehicle? Because it's an old sports car that people are gonna buy, use it once and then just throw it aside. So what's even the point of bringing it when there are so many other great options that could have been added? Turns out the Maserati is actually my favorite car from this update. There's just something about the way it handled. The car gives you such a raw driving experience that not a lot of other vehicles actually give you. Like other cars, they give you a pure driving experience, like, oh, it's such a pleasure to drive. This car, okay, if I don't focus, I can end up off circuit. I need to focus and actually enjoy the vehicle. I have to drive the car, and that is what I like about this vehicle. Plus, with all the additions of performance mods, you can get it up to 500 brake horsepower, which for a car of that time, that's quite impressive. And considering the fact it weighs 1,100 kgs, power to weight is relatively bang on where it needs to be for this car to be immaculate around the corners. This car, playing with it, really made me grow and appreciate this old Maserati, which I think is the main purpose of having a car in game. It's supposed to allow you to experience a car and actually form a bond and say, hey, this is a good car. If you haven't tried out the Merak yet, please do. It is quite affordable, only 72,000 credits, and you can use it in the latest menu book. So the Merak SS, affordable, great handling, looks amazing, and has a decent amount of power. All of this is the reason why this is my favorite out of the updates. Now the car that I thought was going to be my favorite out of the updates, the Skyline 2000 GTR. So I am a JDM fanboy at heart, not even gonna deny it. But when I saw this come into the dealership and being 542,000, it was quite something, considering the Merak, an Italian sports car, 72. Really shows you how the market is in real life. The Nissan, I was expecting either crazy modifications, the engine to have a ton of horsepower, and that's not what I got. The motor fully upgraded, I got 367 brake horsepower. And I mean, from 147, it's a strong gain. However, that's not a lot of power. Then the kicker was, when I tried to use it on one of the Skyline only events, it did not allow me. The car that literally has Nissan Skyline GTR in the name wasn't allowed into a GTR only event. So now I'll put it up against some standard GTRs to see how it actually performs, and it did quite well until it met with a modified GTR. Then it got left in the dust. Now the possibility that I can see with this vehicle of how this could become one of the greatest cars adding updates is if we give it the ability to be engine swapped. Bring that engine out, that R35, put it in here and let this thing rip. It will become a monster. It will be unrecognizable compared to the original vehicle when it comes to performance. So if we get that engine swap, this will be my favorite car out of this update. Now the car that I thought was okay was the 2018 GT3 Nissan GTR. Now personally, I'm not a race car driver. I prefer driving the more standard street cars. So when testing this vehicle and experiencing it, I didn't really feel much difference compared to any of the other GT3 cars. Now I know there are cars that are meta and just, oh, these are the cars that you need to use for so and so reason, but the GTR, I felt like it was just gonna get washed into a sea of more GT3s. I mean, those people who do absolutely adore their racing cars, adding a new GT3 vehicle it's a dream come true. We love to see a new edition of a GT3 vehicle. Now, the addition of a GTR, I don't see why we needed this when we had the 2013 GTR. Because personally, they kind of the same thing. Now, that could be controversial because I have driven both and I didn't really feel that much of a difference. Now, I do have a video coming out actually comparing and seeing, hey, what is the difference between these two vehicles? I mean, it's a GT3 car. There's not much I can say. It handles like a GT3 car. I mean, on Fuel Map 1, it does have decent performance. You can tell that it's not the fastest car, and it does have a large tank, so that's all I can say. There's not much else I can say. So new GT3 car, yay. Is it gonna make that big of an impact? Is it the new meta vehicle? I don't think so. And lastly, the car that I still see no purpose for being in this game, this is the Mazda MX-5 ND NRA. It is exactly the same as the Mazda MX-5 ND that we already have in game, except this comes with sports suspension, sports exhaust, and a roll cage. All of these parts can come standard onto the normal MX-5, and the normal MX-5 is just so much better. I even put these two head to head, and the standard MX-5 won. So I don't see what the point of this edition was. This car took up a valuable space, but why I think they did add it was because of the Mazda racing event that is exclusive to Japan, because this car and two other Mazdas received exclusive paints for those vehicles. So that has to be the only reason that this car was added, was so drivers knew what car they need to pick and just leave it standard and use it in the race. So that has to be the only logical reason, because other than that, there's no way they added a Mazda MX-5 and just added parts that can be added to the standard MX-5. It makes no sense. I don't like the Mazda MX-5 at all. I do not appreciate it in this update, but what can I say? That's just my take. I didn't see any purpose. Even fully upgraded, the car is still slow. Handling is okay. It's a MX-5. It's what they're good at, but there's so much more, so many more cars that could have been added instead of this vehicle. So no, not a fan of this car. With all of that being said, I hope you did enjoy this. Don't forget, leave a like and subscribe for more Gran Turismo 7 content, and thank you for listening to my ramble. Peace.